So when the first rushes came in, the contrast ratio on a lot of the shots is massive. And in a 709 or a standard dynamic range environment, you think, well, there go the highlights, there go the shadows. And then you start grading the material and everything came back.
It's a jump, I'll admit. Obviously the ISOs have been bumped up in both instances, so it does, it enables me to shoot a higher speed if needs be in low light levels, which is something that wasn't really an option before. So that for me essentially is the big gain.
The high ISO modes, we've shot 3200 as well as our base of 800. There is a very small difference that I can see between the ISO modes, but they're incredibly clean. The colour rendition of the camera has been incredibly natural. With the Venice towards the end as well, and now especially this camera, the colour rendition is really beautiful.
Well, what's interesting here is that this is the first time I've ever used that larger sensor, the 8.6K. The results are, I think, quite astonishing in the sense that it's like the Venice Part 1, as it were. It was that anyway, it was fantastic. And we were lucky enough to get some anamorphic lenses that will really, for the full cinematic effect, that really utilize that whole sensor.
Yeah, I think, I find 6K is more than enough much of the time, especially if, I like to, lately have been framing in 2:1 aspect ratio quite a bit. VisFX are always going to ask for more resolution. They'd be very happy with it, I know. Really loved that it was 6K. I mean, they would have preferred 8K.
X-OCN XT is obviously the highest format that you can shoot, and it is gorgeous to work with. You get access to every single piece of data that the camera captures, and as a colorist it makes your life a whole heap easier.
Internal recording is really important, just not having to run any cables and so on and so forth, and again, not having that extra recorder on the back. shortens the profile. That actually allowed me to do shots in that's not a big vehicle we were in, and we could fit in there comfortably even with some of the camera assistance bells and whistles attached to it. Well, you get those last-minute inspirations about, well, I want the background more out of focus, or I want the background more in focus, or whatever. And because of the dynamic range of the camera, and if you're using fast lenses, and I do like the Zeiss Supremes because they're T1.5, whereas normally on set, adding or subtracting an ND would be a semi-time-consuming process that would annoy both actors and directors if it's the last second. And with this camera, I mean, we all the DPs I know love the built-in NDs on this camera. If I was working with a version 2, I'd want a Rialto for it as soon as I could.
I mean, what a difference. It's a much more compact package within the gimbal. The weight itself, I can keep the whole gimbal down to under 15 kilos.
That really did bring a smile to my face. That was lovely to see. And it's testament to Rob as well that he's shooting in such an aggressive way that in most circumstances you'd expect the camera to break. So the camera's getting a really, really heavy workout. So if it can survive what Rob's doing to it in the environments it's doing, and the footage looks as good as I'm seeing it, then you're going to have a field day as a cinematographer, because it's going to solve so many of the problems that you run up against.
The camera really helps that. It does. It really helps me to sort of move fast, make those decisions, and know that I'm going to get the details that I need.